Most people give up when life becomes difficult, but champions keep moving forward because they look at obstacles as lessons instead of roadblocks. And they believe in themselves even when nobody else does. Winning always begins in the mind with thoughts that are strong, focused, and unshakable. So if you want to change your reality, you must first think like a champion and then live like one. I, Napoleon Hill, have discovered that the mindset of a champion begins the moment you believe in yourself, even if no one else believes in you. And it truly begins when you continue without applause, without help, and without visible signs of success. Because real victory starts inside you long before the world ever sees it. The greatest battle you will ever face is not against a rival down the street or a critic who speaks against you in public. The real fight is with the voice inside your own head. This inner enemy knows your weaknesses, remembers your failures, and whispers reasons to keep you stuck exactly where you are. And the only way to defeat it is to master the fears, worries, and excuses that secretly control your choices. Most people think they are held back because they lack skills or miss opportunities, but the truth is they stop themselves before they even begin, building walls inside their minds that are stronger than any barrier in the outside world. Freedom begins the moment you notice the thoughts that tell you it is impossible, and instead you choose to ask yourself, what if I tried anyway? That single question begins to break the invisible prison bars that you built around yourself. This journey is not about becoming someone who never feels fear, because fear will always exist like a shadow following you wherever you go. But the difference lies in how you respond when fear knocks on your door. You can welcome it in and let it get comfortable, or you can acknowledge its presence, but refuse to let it decide your actions. And true strength is found when your hands tremble, yet you still take the step forward. Everyday life gives you chances to win small battles against yourself. When your bed feels like the most comfortable place in the world, waking up just 30 minutes earlier is a victory. When you finally face that task you have been avoiding for weeks, that too is a victory. When your body wants to quit during exercise, but you push yourself for one more rep, that is how you build the muscle of self-control. These daily victories may look small and insignificant, but they are like drops of water carving through solid rock. Each time you choose the harder path instead of the easy one, you train yourself to become a leader instead of a follower, a person of action instead of hesitation. Eventually, you stop debating with yourself about whether you will do something, and you simply do it, because it has become part of who you are. Picture two people with the same abilities standing at the starting line of life. One waits endlessly for everything to be perfect before taking action, while the other accepts that perfection is a myth and starts with what they have, learning as they go and adjusting whenever things do not work. 10 years later, the first person is still at the starting line, waiting for conditions that will never come, while the second has stumbled many times, made countless mistakes, faced repeated setbacks, yet built a life that once seemed like a distant dream. The only difference is that one learned to win the daily battle against excuses, while the other surrendered before the fight even began. Your future self is waiting to see which person you decide to become. A real goal should act like a magnet that pulls you forward even when life feels heavy. Most people drift through their days without a destination, mistaking busyness for progress. They are constantly moving, yet never arriving anywhere meaningful. But the moment you create a clear target, you unlock both purpose and urgency. The difference between wishful thinking and real goals lies in how specific and vivid they are in your mind. Anyone can say they want a better job, but vague desires have no power when obstacles appear. Instead, paint a detailed picture in your imagination. See yourself walking into that new workplace. Feel the respect of colleagues. Imagine the pride when you share your achievements with your family. These emotional connections transform ordinary wishes into forces strong enough to carry you through difficulties. When you can taste, smell, and feel your future success, it becomes real enough to fight for, and your mind stops treating it as a maybe and starts treating it as an inevitable reality if you do the work. Once you have this vision, break it into daily steps. Huge dreams look overwhelming when you stare at the entire mountain, but every mountain is conquered one step at a time. Those steps must become habits you refuse to break no matter how you feel. Create daily actions that move you forward and treat them as unbreakable appointments with your future self. If your goal requires new skills, dedicate time each day to learning. If it requires health, make exercise and proper nutrition non-negotiable. These daily practices may seem small, but they compound like interest in a savings account. Every week, sit down and review your progress. Ask tough questions about what worked and what did not. Adjust your strategy when necessary, but never lower your destination. Think of a runner training for a race. Without a finish line, they could run in circles for hours and achieve nothing. But with a clear goal, every step has meaning. I once knew a man who decided to run a marathon even though he hated running. He printed the race date and placed it where he would see it every morning. He told his friends, family, and coworkers, making it impossible to quit silently. Every morning before sunrise, he remembered that date, tied his shoes, and ran. 6 months later, he crossed the finish line in tears, but his greatest victory was not the medal. It was the discipline and confidence that transformed every part of his life. He proved to himself that he could achieve anything he truly committed to. Life never asks permission before it delivers its hardest lessons. While you plan your future, circumstances prepare tests that will challenge everything you believe about yourself. The question is not if difficulties will come, they will. The only question is how you will respond. Resilience is not about avoiding pain or pretending setbacks don't hurt. It is the ability to absorb life's blows without breaking and to grow stronger from them. Like a tree bending in a storm but not snapping. When the winds calm, the tree stands firmer than before. The most successful people are not those who sailed smoothly. They are the ones who fell flat again and again yet stood taller each time. They understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It is the raw material success is built from. When disaster strikes, your instinct may be to believe your story is over, but this is the moment to ask what this situation is trying to teach you. Every setback carries lessons about what works, what doesn't, and what must change in your approach. The people you keep close in these times will greatly influence how fast you recover. Some will sit in misery with you, reminding you why things are hopeless. Others will acknowledge your pain, but guide you towards solutions. Choose wisely, because their voices will become your inner voice in your darkest hour. When you are in a crisis, it feels like the biggest problem in history. But when you zoom out, you see it as just one chapter in a bigger story. It is not the whole book, and it is certainly not the end. I once knew a man who poured his heart and savings into a business. For 2 years, he worked harder than ever. Then almost overnight, it collapsed. Customers left, bills piled up, and he lost everything. Many would have quit forever, believing they weren't cut out for business. But he treated it as education. He studied every mistake, every wrong decision, every warning sign, and then he tried again. His second business succeeded beyond his dreams, not despite his failure, but because of the wisdom it gave him. The truth is simple. You cannot control which punches life throws, but you can control whether you rise again after each one. Choose your companions with care, because the voices you surround yourself with eventually become your own inner voice, especially in your darkest moments. When you find yourself in the middle of a crisis, it feels like the most important event in the history of the world. Your problems appear enormous, and you cannot imagine how anyone else has ever faced something more difficult. But if you can take a step back and view your life from a distance, you will realize that this crisis is only a single chapter in a much longer story. It is not the whole book, and it is certainly not the ending. The truth about life is simple. You cannot choose which punches will come your way, but you can always choose whether or not you rise after being hit. Believe bigger than your doubts. The most dangerous prison you will ever face has no walls, no bars, and no guards. It is built entirely from the limits you quietly accepted about yourself, without realizing you were building them. These invisible boundaries become so familiar that you begin to mistake them for reality, never questioning whether they are true or simply stories you have told yourself for so long that they feel like facts. Self-belief is not about thinking you are better than others or pretending you have no weaknesses. It is something far more powerful. The unshakable trust that no matter what problems life throws at you, you have the ability to figure out a way through. This belief changes everything about how you see the world. Without it, every challenge feels like proof that you were right to doubt yourself. Each obstacle becomes evidence that you are not smart enough, strong enough, or capable enough to reach your goals. You start searching for excuses to quit before even giving yourself a real chance to succeed. But when you build genuine belief in your own ability, those same obstacles transform into puzzles waiting to be solved. Instead of barriers, you see challenges that will make you stronger once you overcome them. The problems do not get smaller, but your confidence in handling them grows larger. This belief is not something you are born with or without. It is something you deliberately build by paying attention to the evidence of your own strength. Most people focus so heavily on their failures that they forget to recognize their victories. They remember every mistake but ignore every success, no matter how small. Start keeping a record of your wins, both big and small. Write down the time you learned a skill that once felt impossible. Remember the day you had a difficult conversation you had avoided for months. Celebrate the moment you pushed through when you wanted to quit. These victories become the foundation of unshakable self-trust. The people you surround yourself with will either feed your doubts or nurture your potential. Some people only see you as you are right now, limited by their own imagination, but others have the rare gift of seeing who you are becoming, even before you can see it yourself. They hold up a mirror that reflects not who you have been, but who you are capable of becoming. Seek out these people and listen when they tell you what they see in you. Most importantly, stop waiting until you feel completely ready before you act. Confidence does not create action. Action creates confidence. Each time you move forward despite feeling unprepared, you prove to yourself that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act while fear still exists. I once worked with a man who had to give his first public speech. The night before, his hands shook so badly he could barely hold his notes. His voice cracked during the opening lines, sweat covered his forehead. But he did not run away. He finished the speech, even though it felt like the longest 15 minutes of his life. That single act of pushing through became the cornerstone of his self-belief. He now had proof that he could do difficult things, even when every part of him wanted to retreat. Today, that same man confidently speaks to thousands, but his confidence was not built in quiet moments of preparation. It was forged in the fire of doing the very thing that once terrified him. Pursue passion with relentless effort. Passion without effort is like a beautiful flame without wood to feed it. It burns brightly for a moment and then dies, leaving behind only smoke and disappointment. Effort without passion is like chopping wood in the dark with no fire waiting to be lit. All work and no warmth. But when you combine passion with effort, something magical happens. It transforms not just your results, but the very person you become. Most people misunderstand passion. They think of it as a fleeting feeling that comes and goes with circumstances, appearing when life is smooth and disappearing when life gets difficult. They chase the excitement of new beginnings, but abandon their pursuits as soon as the work becomes ordinary or hard. This keeps them forever starting over, never building anything lasting. True passion is not a temporary mood. It is a commitment. It is the decision to keep showing up for something that matters to you, even when the thrill is gone and the real work begins. This kind of passion endures boring Tuesday afternoons and exhausting Friday nights because it runs deeper than emotion. The first step to developing this deeper commitment is to understand what genuinely captures your attention. Notice the activities that make you lose track of time, when hours pass like minutes because you are fully absorbed. These moments reveal what truly engages your spirit. Once you identify them, protect them the way a gardener protects delicate plants from harsh weather. Create space in your life devoted to this pursuit, and guard that space like sacred ground. That might mean waking up earlier, staying up later, saying no to distractions, or turning off the television. The specifics matter less than the consistency. Accept from the start that many days will feel heavy and uninspiring. There will be mornings when your passion feels more like a burden than a blessing, when your hands feel clumsy, your mind foggy, and your progress invisible. These are the days that separate dabblers from masters. Anyone can work when motivated, but only the committed keep working when motivation disappears. I once knew a guitarist who only played when he felt inspired. He would practice passionately for a few hours, then let his guitar gather dust for weeks. Years passed with little improvement. Then he made a decision that changed everything. He committed to practicing 1 hour every single day, no matter how he felt or what else was happening. He played when tired, when busy, when no one was listening, even when his fingers felt stiff. Within a year, his skill had grown more than in all the previous years combined. Opportunities appeared in his life because his dedication made his ability impossible to ignore. His passion, fueled by relentless daily effort, created momentum that transformed not just his music, but his confidence in every area of life. Adapt or be left behind. The world now moves at a pace that would have seemed impossible to past generations. Entire industries vanish overnight. New opportunities appear from nowhere. Skills that were valuable yesterday can become useless tomorrow. In such an environment, adaptability is not optional. It is essential for survival and success. But many people misunderstand adaptability. They think it means abandoning their values or changing who they are. That is not true. Real adaptability is about staying flexible in your methods while staying firm in your vision. It means being willing to take different roads to reach the same destination. When your original plan fails or becomes outdated, your instinct might be to cling to it even tighter, trying to force it to work.